Breaking the Chains, Healing Generational Trauma for a Brighter Tomorrow. Welcome, everyone, to this special episode of the BlackCEO Podcast. Today, we're about to embark on a journey that will challenge your perceptions, stir your emotions, and quite possibly change the course of your life and the lives of generations to come. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Alisa Watkins Monroe, a true visionary in the field of generational healing. Alisa isn't just another voice in the crowded space of self-help gurus. No, she's a beacon of hope, a warrior for healing, and a revolutionary thinker who's redefining how we approach our past, present, and future. Her work isn't just changing lives, it's transforming entire family legacies. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Oh, great, another talk about healing and self-improvement. Haven't we heard this all before? Well, buckle up, because I promise you, this isn't your grandmother's self-help seminar. We're about to dive deep into the murky waters of generational trauma and emerge with a roadmap for healing that could very well alter the course of human history. Too dramatic? Just wait and see. Let's start with the truth bomb that Alisa dropped during our conversation, one that hit me like a ton of bricks. It's okay to not be okay. Simple words, profound impact. In a world where we're constantly pressured to put on a brave face, to fake it till we make it, Alisa's message is a breath of fresh air. It's a permission slip to be human, to feel, to struggle. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you allowed yourself to truly feel the depth of your emotions without judgment? When did you last admit, even to yourself, I'm not okay, without immediately trying to fix it or brush it off? If you're anything like me, it's probably been a while. This radical acceptance is the cornerstone of Alisa's approach. She's not asking us to erase our past or pretend our pain doesn't exist. Instead, she's inviting us to acknowledge it, sit with it, and then, here's the kicker, choose to heal from it. It's a subtle shift in perspective, but one with the power to change everything. Now, why is this so crucial? Because, as Alisa pointed out, unresolved trauma doesn't just stay with us. It's not a suitcase we can simply tuck away in the attic of our minds. No, it's more like a toxic gas seeping into every corner of our lives, our relationships, our parenting, our work, our dreams. And if we're not careful, it becomes a legacy we unwittingly pass on to our children. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a child growing up in a household where emotions are bottled up tighter than a shipwrecked treasure, where difficult conversations are avoided like the plague, where past hurts are swept under a rug so lumpy you could trip over it. This child learns without even realizing it that certain feelings are taboo, that vulnerability is weakness, that it's better to pretend everything's fine than to address what's really going on. Fast forward 20, 30 years. This child, now an adult, finds themselves struggling in relationships, battling anxiety that feels like a constant unwelcome house guest, or feeling a persistent sense of disconnection as if they're watching their life through a foggy window. They might not even know why they feel this way. But here's the real kicker. They're likely to pass these same patterns onto their own children, like some twisted emotional heirloom. This is the cycle that Alisa is determined to break, and her message is clear. We have the power to stop this cycle. We can choose to heal, not just for ourselves, but for the generations that will come after us. It's like being handed the scissors to cut the rope in a generational game of tug of war. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, easier said than done. And you're right, healing isn't easy. It's not a quick fix or a one-time event. It's not like taking an aspirin for a headache and poof, the pain is gone. No, it's a journey, often a challenging one with twists and turns and occasional dead ends. But as Alisa emphasized in our conversation, it's a journey worth taking. After all, the view from the mountain is always worth the climb. So, what does this journey look like? It starts with awareness. We need to become conscious of our patterns, our triggers, our unresolved issues. This isn't about blame or shame. It's not about pointing fingers at our parents or grandparents. It's about honest self-reflection, like looking into a mirror that shows not just your face, but your soul. Next comes acceptance. This is where that it's okay to not be okay main mantra comes in. We need to give ourselves permission to feel, to grieve, to be angry or sad or scared. These emotions aren't weaknesses. They're part of the human experience. They're the colors that paint the canvas of our lives. Without them, we'd be living in black and white. But here's where Alisa's approach takes a crucial turn. While acknowledging our emotions is important, we can't stop there. We can't just sit in our feelings like we're soaking in an emotional bubble bath. We need to actively work on healing. This might involve therapy, support groups, meditation, journaling, whatever tools resonate with you. The key is to be intentional about it. Alisa uses a powerful phrase, heal on purpose. This isn't about waiting for time to heal all wounds. Time doesn't heal wounds, it just teaches us to limp. No, this is about taking active steps towards your healing, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's scary. It's about choosing to walk through the fire instead of around it. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Some of you might be thinking, but I don't want to burden my children with my issues. And that's exactly the point. By choosing to heal now, we're actually lifting that burden from our children's shoulders. We're breaking the chain so they don't have to. Think about it this way. When we heal, we're not just changing our own lives. We're changing the emotional legacy we leave for our children. We're showing them that it's possible to face our demons, to work through our pain, to emerge stronger on the other side. We're teaching them that healing is possible, that change is possible, that they have the power to shape their own emotional landscape. Imagine a child growing up in a household where emotions are talked about as openly as the weather, where it's okay to have bad days, where asking for help is seen as a strength, not a weakness. Imagine a child who learns that healing is possible, that change is possible, that they have the power to shape their own emotional landscape. This is the gift we give our children when we choose to heal. We're not burdening them with our issues. We're empowering them with tools and mindsets that will serve them throughout their lives. But let's be real for a moment. This journey isn't always smooth sailing. There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, times when old patterns resurface like zombies in a horror movie. And that's okay too. As Alisa emphasized, healing isn't about perfection. It's about progress, about moving in the right direction, even if that movement sometimes feels painfully slow. It's about stumbling, falling, and getting back up again. Because each time we get up, we're stronger than before. One of the most powerful insights Alisa shared was about the nature of grief and loss. So often we try to rush through these experiences to get over them as quickly as possible, like we're trying to beat some invisible emotional stopwatch. But Alisa suggests a different approach. She encourages us to allow ourselves to fully experience these emotions, to give them the space and time they need. This doesn't mean wallowing in pain indefinitely, like we're competing for a gold medal in suffering. It means acknowledging the depth of our loss, allowing ourselves to feel it fully, and then crucially choosing to move forward. It's a delicate balance, but one that's essential for true healing. It's like learning to dance with our pain instead of running from it. Now, I want to address something that might be on some of your minds. You might be thinking, but my childhood wasn't that bad, or I don't have any major trauma to heal from. Here's the thing. Healing isn't just for those who've experienced severe trauma. We all have wounds. We all have patterns that don't serve us. We all have room for the growth. It's not about comparing our pain to others or trying to win the who had it worse in Olympics. It's about acknowledging that we all have work to do. Maybe for you, it's about learning to set healthier boundaries. Maybe it's about developing a more compassionate inner voice, one that doesn't sound like a drill sergeant with a megaphone. Maybe it's about letting go of perfectionism or people pleasing tendencies that have you bending over backwards so much you could join a circus. Whatever it is, there's always room for healing, for growth, for becoming a more whole version of yourself. And here's another crucial point that Alisa drove home. Healing isn't selfish. In fact, it's one of the most selfless things you can do. When you heal, you show up differently in all your relationships. You become a better partner, a better parent, a better friend, a better colleague. Your healing ripples out, touching everyone around you. It's like dropping a stone in a pond. The ripples keep expanding, affecting more and more of your world. Let me share a story that Alisa told me, one that really drives this point home. She spoke about a client. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah came to Alisa feeling overwhelmed, constantly anxious, and struggling in her relationships. As they dug deeper, they discovered that Sarah's anxiety stemmed from childhood experiences of emotional neglect. Her parents, while well meaning, had never learned how to express emotions healthily. And so Sarah grew up in an environment where feelings were ignored or suppressed. As an adult, Sarah found herself repeating these patterns. She struggled to connect emotionally with her partner and found herself reacting with anger or withdrawal when faced with conflict. She was terrified of vulnerability, seeing it as a weakness rather than a strength. Through her work with Alisa, Sarah began to unpack these patterns. She learned to acknowledge and express her emotions. She practiced setting boundaries and communicating her needs. It wasn't easy. There were tears, there was resistance, there were moments when Sarah wanted to give up, but she persevered. The transformation was remarkable. Not only did Sarah's relationships improve, but she also noticed changes in other areas of her life. She became more confident at work, more present with her friends, more compassionate with herself. And perhaps most importantly, she broke the cycle. Her children are growing up in a home where emotions are acknowledged and discussed openly, where vulnerability is seen as strength, where healing is a normal part of life. This is the power of healing generational trauma. It's not just about fixing ourselves, it's about changing the trajectory of our entire family line. It's about creating a new legacy, one of emotional health and resilience. Now, I want to share another story that Alisa told me, one that illustrates the far-reaching effects of unresolved trauma. This story is about a man we'll call Michael. Michael came to Alisa because he was struggling with anger issues. He would fly into rages over small things, damaging his relationships and putting his job at risk. As they worked together, Michael realized that his anger was actually a mask for deep-seated fear and insecurity. He had grown up with an alcoholic father who was unpredictable and sometimes violent. As a child, Michael had learned to be constantly on guard, ready to defend himself at a moment's notice. This hypervigilance, while it had protected him as a child, was now causing havoc in his adult life. Through therapy and intentional healing work, Michael began to address these old wounds. He learned to recognize his triggers and to respond to them in healthier ways. He practiced vulnerability and learned to ask for help when he needed it. The changes in Michael's life were profound. His relationships improved, his work performance soared, and he found a sense of peace he had never known before. But perhaps the most powerful moment came when Michael's teenage son told him, "Dad, I used to be scared of you, but now I want to be like you when I grow up." This is the ripple effect of healing. When we heal ourselves, we create the possibility for healing in others. We break the chains of generational trauma and forge new, healthier patterns. So, what's the takeaway from all of this? What's the call to action? It's simple but profound. Choose to heal. Choose to break the cycle. Choose to create a new legacy for yourself and for the generations that will follow. Start by giving yourself permission to feel. Acknowledge your pain, your struggles, your imperfections. Seek support, whether that's through therapy, support groups, or trusted friends. Develop practices that nurture your emotional well-being. Meditation, journaling, exercise, whatever works for you. Most importantly, be patient with yourself. Healing is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, progress, and setbacks, but every step you take towards healing is a step towards a better future, not just for you, but for everyone whose life you touch. Remember, you have the power to change the narrative. You have the power to heal the wounds of the past and create a new story for the future. As Alisa so powerfully stated, heal on purpose. Heal so your children don't have to. I want to leave you with a challenge, a call to action that might just change your life and the lives of generations to come. Here it is. For the next week, I want you to practice radical honesty with yourself. Each day, take a few minutes to check in with your emotions. What are you feeling? What do you feel it in your body? Don't judge these feelings. Don't try to change them. Just acknowledge them. Then, I want you to share these feelings with someone you trust. It could be a friend, a partner, a therapist, anyone who can hold space for you. Be vulnerable. Be real. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but push through that discomfort. This is where growth happens. Finally, I want you to ask yourself this question. What would my life look like if I committed to healing my deepest wounds? How would it change my relationships, my work, my sense of self? And perhaps even more importantly, how would it change the legacy I leave for future generations? The choice is yours. The power is yours. You can break the cycle. You can heal. And in doing so, you can create a ripple effect of healing that extends far beyond your own life. Remember, it's okay to not be okay, but it's also okay to choose healing, growth, and a brighter future. It's okay to stumble, to fall, to make mistakes along the way. What matters is that you keep moving forward, one step at a time, one day at a time. You have within you the strength of your ancestors, the resilience of those who came before you. You carry their stories, their struggles, their triumphs, but you also have the power to write a new chapter, to heal old wounds, to create a new legacy. So I challenge you, be brave, be vulnerable, be honest. Choose healing, not just for yourself, but for all those whose lives you touch and for all those who will come after you. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Take that step today. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery and healing. Remember, every moment is an opportunity for transformation. Every breath is a chance to choose differently. Every day is a new beginning. Go forth and heal. The world is waiting for the healed, whole version of you. And trust me, it's going to be beautiful.